Welcome to the Ken Rampersaud Show here in New York. Hope all is well with you guys. Please continue to share the page for me today. A very special topic today: domestic violence and domestic abuse. Um, yes, I see it's on now. A very special topic today: domestic violence and domestic. Yes, I see it's on now. Let's go with a nice song from a Guyanese.
Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah. Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah. Treat she like a queen, and don't you ever play. If she only best things, and now she night and day. A woman is a treasure, and then we have to fight. So don't abuse no woman, cause you're stepping out your life. I create them to step up to the plate. Every girl and woman now have to stay this way. For every sacrifice and every choice you make. Give me ready, ladies, listen what I say. Woman is a blessing, don't you raise your hand. Woman is a blessing, so they love every man. Woman is a blessing, so woman is a blessing. Woman is a blessing, respect every woman. Is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah.
Kevin, you hear? You hear the song? You hear?
As a man, I love to say, I love to be strong woman. Come down in the end, I love to show what you're happy. Let every woman know this. You just stand there for me. Not every man is easy. So listen how I feel. I feel it's time to step up to the plate. Every girl and woman, I have to say it's great. For every sacrifice and every choice you make. Independent, don't please, know what I say. Woman is a blessing, don't you raise your hand. Woman is a blessing, so you love every man. Woman is a blessing, so mama is a blessing. Woman is a blessing, respect every woman is a blessing. Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah. Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing.
Good afternoon and welcome to the Ken Rampersaud Show here on Island Zone Radio. I see our guest in studio. She is all decked out and ready for the show today. Smile if you're hearing me, Bibi.
Yes, are you hearing me?
Yes, I am hearing you. Let's go with the song. Woman is a blessing, indeed.
She like a queen, give she all the best things that she has ever seen. Don't you hate no woman, please don't raise your hand. A woman is a gift from God to every man. A woman is a blessing, so don't you raise your hand. Woman is a blessing, so belong every man. Woman is a blessing, so come and take a stand. Woman is a blessing, so respect your woman. Woman is a blessing.
That's right, that's right. Welcome to the Ken Rampersaud Show here on Island Zone Radio. And, to be very honest with you, this is on my mind. So many of our young ladies, girls dying because of violence, and a lot of times they're dying because men are beating them, are killing them. And yesterday I was reading that a young girl who died in Florida, they found her died dead in the bush, and it's a sad thing. A young man who I heard that, like her, was showing some interest in her, but she did not show interest in him. They found her body, and so it's a sad thing. So I decided that, you know what, let me choose something that's really interesting and something that going to make a difference in all of our lives, and we need to protect our lives today. I was supposed to have three guests. I know one is going to be Bibi is on. She's locked on. I know Neela is going to be on, and Harry. I am not sure if he's going to be on, but he should be on sometime. And I really had wanted a man's perspective, but I will share my perspective, how I feel about things. So my guest today is Miss Bibi Ahmad. She is a domestic survivor and the executive officer, a person of We Care Guyana, trained as a psychologist. Her career is centered in social change and focus on ending gender based violence, sexual assault, suicide prevention. And I know that she's a big suicide prevention advocate and empowering women and youths, primarily at the grassroots levels. She is like me. I am at for the grassroots level. Through advocacy and the community outreach, she has been active in violence against women and violence and suicide prevention issues for more than 20 years and offers counseling not only for victims of abuse, but persons with mental health related issues. Bibi is honored to devote her time working on making a difference in the lives of so many people, especially women and men. Bibi, I want to say welcome to the Ken Rampersaud Show. And before I go, people, my viewers, you may not know, but Bibi is very influential in Guyana and around the world. She is well known. I always tell her, but she blushes when I said she is one of the stars in Guyana and one of the big advocates for domestic violence and suicide prevention in Guyana. And at the back of the scene, she's always, guiding me and telling me, always giving me good advices, especially when I have my own troubles too. I know we hear some dog barking, but Bibi she loves her pet. So Bibi, welcome to the Ken Rampersaud Show here today. How are you?
Good afternoon, Ken. Thanks for having me. Good afternoon, all your viewers. I'm hot. It's hot here in Guyana.
Oh
I hope
Lord.
that the fan is not giving any static.
No, no, I'm hearing you clear. It's good. Um, so yes, I hope that our good friend.
I'm hot.
Um,
It's hot here in Guyana.
no, no, I'm hearing you clear. It's good. We are getting a little feedback here, but okay. So, Bibi, for those who don't know you, we also know that you are our domestic violence survivor. You have been through many years of abuse, and I have to tell you, I'm so glad that you have get out of that relationship, and now you're a therapist in Guyana. So, Bibi, let's start. You ready?
Yes, I am.
All right, good. So, Bibi, let me ask you something. Over the past couple of days, and I know I would not let you go deep inside. I know, on Facebook there is a lot of problems going on with a young couple, and you can only divulge what you can. I don't expect you to talk much of it. Um, that's going on in Ghana, and we really need to advocate for these young girls and boys. And like we said, there is so many stories we're hearing here in New York. Um, but what kind of abuse we are talking about here? What is really abuse?
Abuse takes many forms. We have the physical abuse, whereby, you know, partners or even abuse takes many forms. Look about the physical abuse. Let me
Right,
take a relationship. The physical abuse is hitting, slapping, it's the sort of violence. We're hitting one another. Even can lead to, we all know that some persons die from interpersonal violence here in Guyana and throughout the world. Then there is the emotional or verbal abuse. That is, you don't see physically, but see signs on your skin like scars and so forth. The emotional, the verbal abuse, you don't see physical signs. That's in your emotion, and that breaks you down, and it can lead you to suicidal. It can lead you to, to, to
depression.
become addicted to alcohol or drugs. The emotional abuse, which for me personally is the most deadly one. The physical abuse, you can cope with the pain. It's gonna heal. The scar is gonna heal. You're gonna see those marks. But the emotional abuse, you don't see those scars. And for me personally, what I enjoy in my relationship with the emotional abuse, it's mentally it trains you, it breaks you down. You cannot function as an individual any longer. You lose all your capacity to think properly, to function in everything. Then there is what we call the financial abuse. All of them are all they are psychological abuse. Then you have the financial abuse, whereby your partner or your spouse or your husband, whoever you're having that relationship, they control the finance. They don't give you money. They don't permit you to spend. If you need, let's say, if you need to buy milk for your baby, they would provide some amount of milk. That's about it. You're constrained. You have no freedom.
Mhm.
You're confined into a space. You have no freedom, no spending power, nothing. Then there is the sexual abuse. It
Mhm.
happened in partnership relation. There is sexual abuse because when your abuser becomes violent and he wants to have a sexual relationship, and if you say no, he beat the daylight out you and do what he wants, or and similarly vice versa, he or she. It happens all the time. So abuse takes bloody for, but we have to learn the word back. We have to educate, especially our younger people. What are the signs? What don't look for them and be judgmental though.
Right, right.
Don't look for them and say, "Oh, I'm in this relationship." Don't go with preconceived idea. If you go with preconceived idea, your relationship won't work.
Okay. Baby, despite you're in a relationship and you're married legally, uh, does it still count as sexual abuse? And I'm on the fence, if you know what I mean. I'm going to answer questions to our audience. We'll try to understand what we are talking about. So, yes, if you marry and you have your wife and your husband legally married, does it still count? If you don't want to have sex, does it still count as an abuse?
Yes, no is no.
All right. And we always say that, even to when you reach to that stage, um, you can say no, and your partner have to take that no for no and yes for no. Um, baby, I've always, and as you know, that from what I was reading, a lot of times it takes one person actually about 7 times, 8 times before they really leave that relationship that they were in their relationship. So a lot of times I've heard in my journey, why do women stay in relationship? And sometimes we don't understand why we have people taking licks and so on. So I'm going to start with the vows. So a woman made her vows to stay in a relationship. Why?
Well, you you have to understand how the female mindset to the male
Right,
mindset. You know, female, they're more emotional than men in outwardly. I say outwardly because down the line when we continue the conversation, your audience will understand what I say outwardly. Um,
right,
when you take, let me say for instance, in any religion, the pastor or the pandit or the imam, whoever do
right,
the ceremony, you take your vows. These are sacred.
right.
In any relationship, you cannot agree on everything. There must be disagreement.
Absolutely.
There's a guy and he said teeth and tongue must bite.
Right.
So
Absolutely.
so there might be a little difference, but however, when you stay in that relationship, that abusive relationship, I personally understand because I stayed at my own. The biggest problem you have is fear.
Fair. Okay, Bibi, um, let's talk about, a lot of women believe that they
Mhm.
can change their spouse. Do you think we can change our spouse?
Yes,
We can.
yes. Life is about choices.
Right. But can you change it? If you are in an abusive relationship, can you change your partner?
You can get out of it, and when you heal from that, you can have another partner. It's about choices.
Yes. In terms of children, we all know that it's so tough when you have kids. Um, does it makes it easier to leave a relationship, or is makes it harder to leave a relationship when you have kids involved, especially young children?
It's complicated because it depends on so many factors. One is financial
Right.
because a spouse may be dependent on her husband to support herself and the children.
Yes.
Now, let's take it at a grassroots level. For instance, here in Guyana,
Right.
hypothetically, BB, I'm using my name, so I won't call nobody's name on the program. I'm living with my partner. I have 5 children. I just went to school. I just had a basic education because my lifestyle growing up, I come from a very, very poor family. So
Right.
I'm married. I see Tom, and I think I like Tom, and I started a relationship. We get married, and then the abuse start.
Right.
Now Tom just buy the basic food commodities, bring it home, so my children get food on the table.
Right.
So I was thinking of Should I leave? Who is going to look after my 5 children? There is
Mhm.
nothing in place for the government to take care of my 5 children myself safely. Per se, they're trying, their attempts are trying to that. But
Mhm.
that won't help me. Where would I get a job? If I go and ask Sito for let me sweep your shop, she can give me $10 or $20. That can't maintain my family.
Right, right,
And
right.
then I have a little baby. If I leave the baby, who's gonna look at? No, you have to be realistic where it comes to that. So those are factors that make some women stay in a relationship. For me, in but I stayed in my own, it's not because of financial. I stayed in my own because I wanted a family for myself and daughter because I grew in a small family.
Mhm.
I grew with 3 siblings, a father, mother, and we were a small little family. So I know what family love. So I wanted the same thing for my daughter. I tried and I tried everything. I
Mhm.
tried family counseling. Every new day where I tried it, nothing worked. And then
Wow.
it came a point when I had to realize it was time for me to end.
Mhm.
I had to end that relationship for my sanity as well as my daughter's sanity. But
Uh,
everybody's not like me.
right, right, right. We know you were
Every,
strong, baby.
no, I was saying that if I struck when I left the relationship for the beginning, I had my weak points. Is that I know I lived in what I call it false hope. I hope that I could have made a difference and changed my abuser, but it didn't happen.
It didn't happen. So, baby, let me ask you this. You know, a lot of times, and here is where I really wanted Nita to be in, but I'll still ask a question and I'll bring her in later on. Sometimes young girls, they don't know that they are in an abusive relationship. And today, as I was thinking, how do we start this show? What do we really discuss? And a lot of times, a lot of young girls see abuse. They see daddy beating on mommy or mommy beating on daddy, right? So when they marry now and they see their husbands start to beat them or their wives start to beat them, and yes, we do have male who get abused,
Abuser
but
victims, yeah.
you have that. And in your practice in Guyana, I'm certainly sure that you've met some men who really is abused and they're still in the relationship. So, baby, what do you see about all of that? When you're in a relationship and you don't know or realize it's an abuse,
You see, that's what we call we have to break the cycle.
right?
We grow up, I use we hypothetically, families grow up seeing the mother and father, they have the verbal abuse, they have the physical abuse,
Right.
and they think it's okay because your mom stayed with it, so it's okay. Your mom endured for 20 odd years, 30 odd years, how long, and it was okay. And let me tell you this, some mothers would tell their daughters, I went through it and I enjoyed it. You have to stay and battle.
We're gonna go with we're gonna go into that topic in just a couple of minutes. Um, so as parents, like I said, and I wish Neela was in this one here, where we could have really talked about it, and but she is gonna still come in, and we're gonna talk about. Um, let's talk, ladies and gentlemen. We are talking to the beautiful Bibi Ahmad from Guyana. She is a domestic survivor and the chief executive officer, chairperson of We Care Guyana. Trained as a psychologist, her career is centered in social changes and focuses on the ending gender bias violence, sexual assault, suicidal prevention, and empowering women and youths. I always tell you, you're doing such a fantastic job in Guyana. As we talk about parents, when you get beat up home and so on, and you go to your parents' house, your parents, what do you think is the right thing to do?
For me personally, I'm
Yes,
not I'm dealing with two parts. I deal with
right,
personally
right.
because I have my personal experience and I'll deal with it from the professional part. For me personally, if that happened, I would take back my child into my home, get her help, because I know what is it to go through an abusive relation. Professionally, it will be on the similar lines. I advise anybody if their daughters or their sons return from an abusive situation, keep them safe in the home and get them some counseling. But counseling is something that Guyana is not too inclined with. The mindset of our people here in Guyana, they feel that if you take therapy or counseling or you talk to a counselor, that that person would know your business. There's a big trust issue.
Right, right. Um, Bibi, and as I'm gonna go with the way you talk. In terms of counseling, you mentioned earlier that you went through counseling. Um, do you? And I'm going to ask you as a layperson and as a counselor at the same time, and you can break them up and answer them accordingly. So, Bibi, do you as a layman person believe in counseling, or do you believe that people should go for counseling?
As a survivor, yes.
Okay.
As a survivor, yes, because when you're alone and those emotional thoughts go through your mind,
Yes.
you need to talk to somebody. You need to let it out. You need to get it out of your system. If you keep it bottled up all the time in you, and you go into another relationship, you're taking baggage from the previous relationship into that relationship, and it can affect the relationship.
I'm glad you say that, Bibi, because let me open that up a little bit more. So the thing is that in terms of relationship, if you're in a bad relationship, your husband beating you, you get out of the relationship. And like Bibi said, we advise you to get yourself healed because there's a lot of trauma that goes on in abuse. And if you don't get that trauma taken care of, it could lead to suicide, as Bibi said. It could lead to depression and so on. So you want to make sure you take care of yourself first before you go into that relationship. Just don't jump from one relationship depressed, got all these baggages, and then continue another relationship. You agree with me, right?
Absolutely.
So we don't want to do that. Let's go with another song. And while we take a deep breath and we come back, and then we will continue this discussion. You're watching the Ken Rampersaud Show on Island Zone Radio.
Baby, you're the one I never thought I'd be. Say it from my heart, how I feel. Ever since we met, I fell in love with you. You being in my life is a dream come true. Oh baby, I'll never ever make you cry. I'll never say goodbye. I wipe your tears away. I just want to say, oh, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, we have together, it's for eternity. No, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never go away. Oh, we have together, it's for eternity. I promise you with all of my heart I'll be standing beside you till in my dreams. I'll never make you unhappy. I want to be the man that you dream of. I want to be the show that you lean on. Oh, I want to be your everything. Oh, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. No, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. Baby, you're the one I never thought I'd be. Say it from my heart, how I feel. Ever since we met, I fell in love with you. You being in my life is a dream come true. Oh baby, I'll never ever make you cry. I'll never say goodbye. I'll wipe your tears
Kevin, we're not
away.
charging.
I just want to
No problem.
say,
Charger.
Oh, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. No, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity.
That's right. Welcome back to the Ken Rampersaud Show here on Island Zone Radio. I see we have Natalie Pamal is watching all the way from Guyana. We have Mary Lou Ann is watching all the way from Canada, from Ghani. We have, let's see, we have Sandra Prasad, IBB Hack. She's saying, sweetie. Mavis Soon says that that is so true, baby. My parents said I'm married to him and you have children, you have to do it with him. And Naz is saying, like you said, that great job you are doing. You continue. And, Raj is watching from Guyana. Thank you so much for watching the Ken Rampersaud Show. And guys, please continue to share the show, share the program. We have Elma is watching. Thank you very much, Elma. We have Rowena Lal is watching us. Gita, the beautiful Gita Rampersad is watching us. Shalini Ramatar, a very good afternoon to you too. Let's see who we have. Mavis Kisum said, watch with your sister, baby Hag. Good afternoon. Sunita Prasad is watching. She said, good afternoon, sir. You such a wonderful topic. Many women hit that spot in this life. And it's so sad because, you know, one of the things I know that love should not hurt anyone. Love is a great thing. And sometimes when I go to bed and I snuggle on the guitar, I said, love is a beautiful thing. Eh? Bibi Sharif, thank you very much for watching. Tara Singh is watching. Let's see what we have. Na says, good afternoon, Ken Rampersad, and to your special guest. Great topic, very interesting. So, Truth Sister Bansi Prasad is watching. Good afternoon. We have, who else? We have Radha Totaram. I am glad to see you on. I hardly see you these days, but it's good to have you on. Hope things are getting better with you. Sarita Jagroup is watching all the way from the Netherlands. I know it's late for her, probably about 2 in the morning or something like that. And always thank you very much for your love and your support on Island Zone Radio. Sheila Munger saying, watching all the way from Suriname. Thank you very much. My beautiful Roxanne Walker Hamilton. Thank you guys. And, you know, I love all of you. Thank you for your love and your support. Who we have? Elizabeth Lowe is watching. She said, hi, BB. Tara Singh, good to have you on. I hope your foot is working good for you. I wish you speedy recovery. Naya Anthony Lal, good afternoon. And hope all is well with you. Molly Cody, good afternoon to you, to my dear. Take it easy. Let's see. Ajay Ramlochan, good to have a male on watching us to baby. I always like to see men come on the show sometimes. So, you know, there's so much to talk about abuse. You know, when I was listening to this, as you guys know, there were some problems with the two young couple in Guyana. And I don't know, Bibi, if Bibi want to say anything about that, we could start. If she could tell me no, and I would stop. But Bibi, what do you want to say? Well, we could talk openly.
Okay, I will say what I can say about that. It's unfortunately those two young people had no counseling.
Right.
I'm talking about marriage counseling before they went into the marriage. From all indication, from what they have posted on Facebook,
Mhm.
they had no counseling.
Mhm.
The Ministry of Social Services, I think, is helping the family. I personally is helping the young lady with counseling, so I
Okay.
won't go into much details with that. I'm more into counseling abuse women.
Right.
And if a woman said to me her husband abused her or a partner abused her, I
Mhm.
believe her.
You believe?
Unless yes, I take what she says. Unless when you do an analysis of that person that needs counseling, you will know whether or not they're telling you the truth.
Right. Right.
Because because you have to do an appraisal, you do an assessment of the person, you will know whether or not they're telling you the truth. And I believe her and her story. So far from me, I haven't seen any holes in her story.
You know.
She stand up and fight back, and she got charged for it, which is for me is outrageous.
Mhm.
If she didn't defend herself, she could have been dead.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, I
Then,
guess. Go
you
ahead.
know,
Go.
he took him 2 days or 3 days for him to respond to her Facebook post.
Right. Right.
Probably someone advised him, or he said, it's looking that bad. Let me respond up. And when I read his post, I
Yes.
read his post twice, and he showed all the traits for me as somebody with narcissism, a
Oh, nice.
narcissistic person.
Yeah.
Yes, they're those people who narcissists. They kind of have a trait with them, but it's hidden.
Right.
They don't display it openly,
Right.
but you will see the warning signs popping up as long you know. And I tell everybody, we have internet nowadays. In our days growing up, Ken, if you want to read a book, you have to go to the library.
Right.
There's access to the internet. Not everybody has access to internet, but there's so much information on the internet,
Wow.
to edify yourself about not only domestic abuse, but any form of abuse, any form of mental health. There's so many sites you can go on and learn things to help not only your family, you can help your neighbors.
Mhm. Let me. You keep your thoughts. I'll have you continue. But I want to say, do you think before marriage, like especially young people like this, should you should they have counseling before marriage to tell them some of the problems they could encounter? Is it a good thing to do?
Yes, absolutely. I think that I know it happened in the Christian faith that some of the pastors here in Guyana, they would have like 3 consecutive weeks of sessions with them. I'm not sure of what's happening with the Muslim faith. I'm not sure what's happening with the Hindu faith and that, but it's good to have it.
It
It's
is good
good
to
to have it. You kind of set their mind in a frame that led them to understand this is what to expect, this is what's gonna happen, that sort of things. But I don't know if this happens much in Guyana right now. I really can't say. Remembering it's still in a pandemic too.
right. Baby, I when I was reading the story, and I try to keep up with all the stories that's going on so that I can bring it to my viewers and to bring a discussion on Facebook. When I think of this and I saw all the postings on Facebook, I start to wonder. I said, where is our religious leaders? And, where is our parents and so on is all of this? So a lot of things went through my mind. I believe that long time when I hear my parents used to talk, a long time you could go to your pandit or your mulvi or whoever it is or your preacher and go to them and let them know that you have problems and they would try to help you, right?
Absolutely. There's in some communities in Guyana, I know of selective communities or selective faith-based leaders who would help people. I cannot say for sure. I only can talk about the ones that I know about. I cannot
Right.
say for sure it happened across Guyana,
Hmm.
but I sincerely hope we can get back to that.
Yeah.
That you can go to your pastor, or you can go to the imam, or they call it meji. There's
Uh-huh.
or you can go to the pandit who lives 2 doors from you, and tell Panditji, well, I'm encountering this problem, and he would call over your husband and sit down, or he might even come visit your home.
Yes.
But remember, we're in a pandemic too, so
Yeah.
maybe a phone call might work, or
Right.
a message.
Also on the flip coin and the flip side of that, baby, I want to tell you, if nowadays, you can't tell children anything. I think children these days, a lot of them think they know everything in life, and they could teach you a thing or two, which might be true sometimes. But I try to see sometimes that I try to instill some values in kids, and it's not going anywhere. Am I not telling the truth?
You're right. You see, I look at it. The younger generation, they're developing a different mindset, a
Yes,
different culture, and we as parents, we have to meet them.
meet them
We have
halfway.
we have to meet them halfway. We
Right.
cannot just lay down the laws on them and say, in my days used to be so, and I know it this way. We have to adapt to their style. They're we're in a different culture, different era. So we have to adapt. We have to meet. And it
Absolutely.
only way it can happen is through communication.
Um, you know, today, like I said, I really didn't prepare any question until today for you, for us to talk about, and I was so busy at work today. But as I was working and doing things, I'm thinking, oh God, what I'm going to ask maybe my next, what's how I'm going to deal with this and talk about this. Baby, I've always believed that as parents, we have a role and responsibility with our children, and we should be. But I think I want to leave that for Neela to answer. If she do come on, if she don't, well, then we will talk about it. So,
Okay.
what children see, what they do what they see. In a lot of times, so for the young couple, I would only hope that they would get some kind of counseling. I'm hoping, and this is my fervent. I know Bibi for a long time. We were in the same organization for Suicide. And when I think of Bibi, she have come a far way, and I'm hoping that my show could really grow and that where I can get to utilize you in Guyana on a paid basis, where I can. Uh, I hope when the pandemic finish, I can raise some money and keep it. Somebody could keep it. I could get two or three people that could keep that money, and we can let you work with this show so that we got people need counseling. We can let them call you in Guyana, and where you can be paid for your services. Because one of the things that I want you to do is to get paid. Don't because you pay so much money for your school. Also, I want to talk about maybe you know a lot of times parents, mothers especially, scared of leaving, and you are a prime example of what the success is. Maybe you left the relationship, and maybe your daughter, if I'm correct, she went to Queen's College. Can you talk about your daughter a little bit?
I'm
And
not
so,
gonna say much about her because she's very very private.
yes,
I'm very proud of her. She's
right,
just finished CSEC at Queen's College. She's on to A levels now at a
right,
private school here in Guyana,
yes.
and she's very quiet and disciplined young lady. And I think I did a good job with that.
Well, now you think I know that you did a good job because every
Thank
time
you.
I see her Queen's College uniform, and I know we share information sometimes, I know you have done an excellent job. And you, you, you know, um, and I shouldn't ask you, but do you think because of a child, like I said, I'm moving away from some of the questions that I'm asking you, and Bibi, do you think that because of your daughter, you're having a relationship with your child, with your abuser, or no?
No, I don't have any connection. When I left the relationship, I
That
had
was it.
a long conversation with my daughter. I said, "This is what we're gonna do." It was over a period of time. I told
Right.
her what she saw it. She saw the physical abuse. She saw the verbal abuse. She was part of it. It was affecting her. And at the time, I did not know it was affecting her. And when I
Really?
realized it was affecting her, that is when I said, "No, it has to end. It has to end." And I we had conversation, talk about it, about the changes what's going to happen, and then I made that change and I cut all communications, all.
Wow. Drastic. Well, that's a lot of hurt that went through there. A lot of abuse went through there. Uh, Baby, when I was reading the girl's story on Facebook, do you think that it belongs to Facebook?
Yeah, I don't see a problem in her putting it on Facebook. The
Really?
reason why I say that because she is sharing what's happening to her, and it's a form of awareness.
Yes.
Others, if anybody who reads a young person read it and they're in a similar situation, they know they can get out. It's a form of awareness. I mean, her style and her way of putting it over, I have no problem with. Some people might be judgmental. I say she shouldn't say it so. She should, no, I have no problem with her putting it on Facebook and on social media. The young people turn to social media. It's a part of her coping way too. She expressed herself there, and that's where she got help.
Yeah.
She didn't know where to get help. She
Uh,
was she was frustrated, so I only turned to Facebook and put it up and said, "This is what's happening to me," and from that, it lead for her to get some help
so, Baby, let's say that you have young people in that position. What you advise them to do?
in an abusive relationship.
Yes. Like
Anyone in an abusive relationship, I'd advise you to get out.
to get out.
Don't
Uh,
stay. Don't stay because you think of your children, or don't think about the economics.
Right, right. I agree with you. Do
As
you
long
think?
you have hope, you can make your life, rebuild your life.
I totally agree with you. Um, a lot of times I hear people saying to people who's abused, the thing is, sorry, my part is making some noise. I'm trying to get my son to calm him down.
Oh, my
So
yarn is gonna make nice just now.
yeah, so Bibi, before we advise women to ask them why they are staying in the relationship, I think that people should say, "Why? How can I help you?" What do you think of that sentence?
Precisely. That's really good. You instead of there are some people like, why are you staying there? No, don't ask the person. Lend a helping hand,
Step
a
in.
comforting word. How can I help? What can I do to help you? You might not be able to help them financially, but you might have a listening ear that you can
Yeah.
listen to them so they get that emotion out of them, and it might help them to take baby steps out of the relationship.
Um, Bibi, the thing is that it says that leaving a relationship is very dangerous, right? Is it true?
Yes.
And to be honest with you, I mean, I know the answer to these things, but I'm just going to ask you so we can empower certain women. Um, you know, do you think that they should really leave that relationship?
Yes, your safety is very important. Your life is important. You need to get out. You need to be in a safe place. Um, in here in Ghana, we don't have what we call safe home. Unfortunately, we don't have, but there is system in place for Guyana. I can tell you, people, you can call 914
Hmm.
and you will get help. I know that for sure. You will get help for the 914 number. The 914 number is helping victims
It's helping
because
victims.
yes, because I personally would call for victims and I get through. And if I don't get through, I network to get help for them.
Wow.
Yes, I
Also,
do that.
good, good. Also, if people want to, and I want to help you out a little bit here too, if people want to get in touch with you, how can they get in touch with Baby Ahmad?
And you can share my number 621 They can get me that on WhatsApp or they can get me on Messenger
Right. So,
or call
guys,
me direct.
yes, Bibi is she went through abuse for a long time, and she is a great therapist. Would help you, and she's serious. She's a firecracker anyway. She would not play. She doesn't play with abuse and suicide prevention and so on. You know, like we are talking about parents, and if you see a girl come to you and said, "Look, my husband is beating me. Is this a normal thing or no?" But I see my dad did it.
But you will have to, for me, because I have the training, I would put the person to sit down, or if I'm on the phone, I would start to ask them certain questions. First, I ask the person if you're safe.
Mhm.
Safety is very important for a victim because we don't want to lose lives. Life is precious. So the first thing safety is important for that person.
Absolutely.
In the United States, I know you guys have safe homes and so forth, so there are numbers that people can call over there to get help. For in Ghana here, no, we don't have the safe homes per se. But there are organizations like Help and Shelter. They have mechanism in place to put you up for a short period of time.
Mhm, mhm. So there is a place in Guyana where you can really get help from, right?
Yes, yes,
And
yes,
if
yes,
you
you
want to,
can get help.
you can call Baby Ahmad. She is on Facebook as Baby Ahmad. A lot of experience. So let's go with another song, and in the meantime, Baby's gonna start herself out there. Let's go. If you're ready,
It hurt my heart to see
I give a biscuit or something like tuna. You make all nice. You have something to eat. You make nice.
women are being brutalized and abused. But I want to remind you, we all came from a woman too. Treat her with respect and protect her too. If you know you're a treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air. If you know you're a treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air. If you know you're a treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air. If you know you're a treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air. make excuses in this one life. We have to live, so treat your woman right. Don't try to be abusive and make excuses in this life. We have to live, so treat your woman right. Take a jump for the ladies now. Take a wine for the ladies now.
That's right, treat her right.
Take a wine now. Take a wine now. Take a jump for the ladies now. Take a wine for the ladies now. Take a jump for the ladies now. Take a wine now. Take a wine now. Yo, this is what we sing alongside Abby Nash in Shanty Strays Studio. The greatest thing that God gives to us is a woman to complete every man. Never make her lonely, always make her happy. Give comfort and respect to she. The greatest gift that God gives to us is a woman to complete every man. Never make her lonely, always make her happy. Give comfort and respect to she. She can be your mother, she can be your sister, she can be your daughter, she can be your leader, she can be your mother, she can be your sister, she can be your daughter, she can be your leader. Treat your woman right, oh, treat your woman right. Don't try to be abusive and make excuses in this life. We have to live, so treat your woman right. Take a jump for the ladies now. Take a wine for the ladies now. Take a jump for the ladies now. Take a wine now. Take a wine now. Take a jump for the ladies now. Take a wine for the ladies now. Take a jump for the ladies now. Take a wine now. Take a wine now. Pay attention to your woman more carefully. No happy woman needs no happy family. Support her feelings each and every day. She will make you successful in every single way. Pay attention to your woman more carefully. No happy woman needs no happy family. Support her feelings each and every day. She will make you successful in every single way. She could be your mother, she could be your sister, she could be your daughter, she can be a leader, she can be your mother, she can be your sister, she can be your daughter, she can be a leader. Treat your woman right, oh, treat your woman right. Don't try to be abusive and make excuses in this one life. We have to live, so treat your woman right. Don't try to be abusive and make excuses in this life. We have to live, so treat your woman right. If you know you don't treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air. If you know you don't treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air. If you know you don't treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air. If you know you don't treat your woman right, put your hands up in the air.
That's right, that's right. I got carried away just now by putting up my hands, and I was putting up two hands. They said, you have a happy wife, you have a happy life. Welcome back to the Ken Rampersaud Show here on Island Zone Radio. So yes, I'm very proud to put my hands up. I've never hit guitar. Oh well, I'm so glad to see the beautiful Neela who just tuned in. Brilliant smile. For those of you who don't know Neela, who she is, I'm gonna bring that screen up right there so you can see her. I tell you, and I get so emotional saying it. Neela is a great human being, a mother, a friend, a domestic abuse advocate, and a suicide advocate, one who gives generously to improve the life of others, especially in Guyana. I cannot tell you how much I am grateful to you. Some of the things you don't want me to tell you guys, but when I think of the Ken Rampersaud Show, I think of people like Neela, who always would send a good message and say, Ken, you're doing so great, and I'm proud of you. And the same thing goes for baby. I'm getting a little emotional, but that's all right. And like anytime anything bothers me, I could always call or text either one of them, and they will give me the best advice there is. So I really truly love them, and I really consider them like a sister. And to be despite sometimes they don't see them on, behind the scene, we always talk. And so I really do consider them a big part of the Ken Rampersaud Show. I am going professional. When I say professional, don't get me wrong. Uh, I'm going a little professional. I'm doing things a little better. And so Neela is one of the person to who is helping me to, but she don't want me to say these things. And I have to tell you guys great things. I was invited for a big event next week, which I'll bring live for you guys. And so I am proud of all these things. And I cannot tell you how, and Neela bringing out all these things to me anyway, when I'm thinking, and to make this show something that's later on, it will be a big changer in Guyana and around the world. I hope that together, all three of us here and all you viewers who sharing these shows would make a big difference. So, Neela, welcome aboard to the Ken Rampersaud Show here on Zoom. I'm lucky I got this, right? Welcome, Neela.
Thank you, Ken. Well, we're lucky to have you. Um, you know, when you invited me to come on to the show, I was like, well, why am I going to be on here? But if it's just to support you and Baby, and all that you all do for our community, I always say that we have a lot of song and dance shows, and it's all fine because we need entertainment. But when it's down to the issues that our people are going through, and and forgive me if I'm being biased, but I look at Guyana a lot. We are all Guyanese, and we focus on the Caribbean. But the stories that come out of Guyana uh, are heart wrenching, heartbreaking. To see young couples having to lose lives and leave young children because of domestic abuse. There's elder abuse, there's children abuse, there's domestic violence of all sorts, right? And it all affects us and our community. And it's not good for as a country to grow when we're still going through such major issues, social issues. And hence, I'm here to support in any way I can, even just somebody to keep Ken in check, give him a little yell when he needs one.
Yeah,
I'm just kidding. But just to give our support, that's why I'm here, guys. And Bibi knows how I feel about her work in Guyana. I respect her much. I know whatever she does, she really cares about the people that she's helping. And she does not make a big show of what she does. There's a lot that she does behind the scenes, and she sticks true to what she does, is to keep it private. And these things must not be make a political issue or a big show. We must try to help and do so privately. Back to you, Ken.
Oh, thank you very much. I am so honored to have Mr. I think uh, Dave Ramdas Daniel. I'm sure that most of you probably heard of him. I think he's out in England doing a lot of work in Guyana. I don't think that he gets all the credit that he do for the work that he does. And so, Dave, I'm so glad that to have you on the Ken Rampersaud Show. I wish if you want to come on and share. I think we can bring you on. So thank you very much. Or you want to come on the show one day and talk about anything, I would love to have you on because it's all making a difference in Guyana and around the world. And Mary Ann Lou says it's sick to my stomach to see what is going on. So one of the things I really wanted to bring on Neela for too, I know she's a great mother, and so a great wife. Neela, with all that's going on in Guyana, can you please tell me what do we do to empower our young girls? And I know that you have a teenager and you have a little girl. Let me say shout out to them because I'm sure your little daughter probably listening to me. So, or she will listen later on, But uh, tell me, how do you do it?
Well, it's our young girls and our young boys, Ken.
Yes,
It's a two-way street, right? So yes, we must groom our boys to be more respectful, and and we must and abuse can go both ways, right?
right.
Because there's emotional abuse versus verbal abuse both ways. So I think the more that I have observed that people are ashamed to talk about this issue if it's happening to them. And believe you me, if I was in that position, I don't know how I would handle it because we all talk a big talk, but when it happens to us, it's a different ball game, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
but one thing that we need to emphasize, that we must be open. And that is why we bring on people like Bibi and other survivors,
Yes.
because we want to educate our folks that,
Absolutely.
you can survive this. You do not have, yes, things may seem bad, but you can, talk to somebody, bring it up, seek professional help, and try to our society kind of looks down upon you when people tend to like start bad mouthing, oh, this, that's happening in that family, instead of trying to help. How many times have we heard that we hear, we're neighbors, there's fighting going on in a house, we know that person is beating their mother or their wife or their husband, and then ultimately that relationship, somebody ends up dying. And then the neighbors after, they say that, oh, we hear them fighting all the time, or they get, but so this, we have to just say to our people that it's okay, talk to somebody, it's okay to leave, it's okay to go see help. So that's what we have to instill in our young people from the very beginning, and then also to be respectful. Another thing, what I notice for our young people, we need to give them social skills where they, you appreciate life. Not every little thing you're going to be hasty about, and do the wrong thing. So ethical things that I think that we are kind of lacking. And I don't know how we can build skills to people so that they can think outside of the box and try to do something better with their lives, instead of stay into that abusive relationship, or like alcohol, I think, is also a bad thing. And that's
Yes.
also the root of a lot of evil, what's happening in Guyana. So how do we get that out of our system, and our small little children growing up in that environment where growing up, you see people drink and it's kind of be the norm. We cannot make that the norm. We have to create a new norm for our people.
Mhm. Absolutely. And so let me ask Bibi, how do we talk to our children about abuse? And it's strange because my next question that I have for you, when our children come to us complaining of abuse, as parents, how do we deal with it? Um, if you want to talk more about, do we get upset and chase them out? And like you said earlier, you want to listen to them. So, baby, you take it away. How do we deal
No,
with
for me personally, I would take back my child, or so, with open arms. I would take that child with open arms. She comes home to me, or he comes home to me and say that XYZ happened to them. I let her come home, sit, we'll have a conversation. Communication is the key to it. I would listen to what they have to say. I would try to reach either the husband or the
it?
wife, whichever one, and listen to what they have to say. And I'll make sure that my child is safe,
Right,
because saving life is important. That's the
right.
key to it. We don't want any more stats. And what we also have to, I want to emphasize, to add to what Neela already said, with our younger people, we have to educate them. That's the only way we can break that cycle. Because growing up in a home where you saw abuse in one form and the other, it could be drugs, alcohol, domestic abuse, whichever one is there, we have to break. We have to teach our children from a small age. We have to teach them this, the signs. This is not right. This is what you should do. We have to educating our children, and we have to educate our boys especially. It's okay for them to have emotions. It's okay for them to cry if something is wrong. It's not. It's okay. Boys grow in a concept. I'm speaking from my experience here in Guyana. You have to put your chin up. You have to man up. That's the concept they grow up. If you cry, that they will tell you that you behave like a girl. They will say you like in Guyanese term. They will say you're like a CC.
Hmm.
So you have to, it's okay. Even to men do have emotion. Can I know you have emotions,
Oh,
and men
Jesus.
do.
Divorce.
Yes, yes. It's okay for you to express your emotion, but some men, because of their macho-ness or the ego within them, they would not show that emotion. What's hurting them, what's the issue within them, and it leads to anger building up in them and frustration, and the only way they can get it out is through violence. That's the only way. That's one part of it. But then also the alcohol and the drugs affect the way you think. Some people say that it doesn't. It does. Scientifically, it's proven that alcohol addiction or drug addiction has affected your capacity to function as a normal person.
You know, I have to tell you, in New York here, I'm a detox nurse. I spend a lot of my time working with people who do drugs and alcohol. And today, as I was doing medication, I was a little, I can't say I'm perturbed or but I was a little disturbed because what I find is that it's in South Ozone Park, and a lot of our Guyanese children now are coming in there with abuse, and it's a problem. It's now it's out of control. They're coming in with all these medication, a lot of psychiatric issues, and that's why I have this show, to talk about some of the things that goes on in our community. The parents don't know. And like I have a friend who's a security guard where I work, and I said I want to bring him on the show one day. He's Guyanese to talk about what goes on with our Guyanese, especially our Indian people, um, because they come, they park their car outside of where we work, and they use their drugs and they do all manner of things. So, in the first place, I'm going to ask both of you because, uh, we're lucky to have Vivi on, as Nina was saying, where she can talk on both spectrum, okay, as a therapist and as a layman. So, if your child come to you and saying, "Listen, my husband start hitting me, or he's abusing me," um, Neela, can you tell me how would you want to deal with it? I will bring in my piece as a father too. So, can you tell me, Neela, how would you deal with it? You have your daughter. She come home one day. She said, "Mom, my husband start to beat me." What would you do?
Ken, I probably have to seek medical help and professional help because other than talking to her or with her, I don't think I'm equipped to take that on.
Hmm.
So that would be my first thing. It's one thing to talk to family and all, but I think always seeking professional help is the beginning. Because you don't want to say something or have them do something that will make the problem bigger. So it's better to deal with it at a professional level.
I want to bring in my piece. How I'm going to talk about things, but let's talk about it to the professional, baby, who is a therapist and who is a domestic survivor. Baby, how are you going to take it on? I know
But
you could be something else when
as
you get
as
home.
a mother, as I said before, I take my child back in open arm. I will get all the counseling. If the matter needs to be reported to the police, I will get her to make that report to the police, and whatever course of action I take. But I would help her through that phase. And if she wants to go back into the relationship, I will not stop her, but I will let her know the danger of going back because there's a tendency with victims. I did it myself, so I can tell you about it. That
Right.
when you end that relationship with your abuser, they have that psyche on you, that dependency on them. That your mind frame, your mindset is not the same. You're dependent on them. You feel like you need them in your life, and you end up taking them back for one reason or the other. It happened to me, and it can happen to anybody. And I don't judge nobody if they do that, but I always let them know what are the risks of going back into that relationship. And I will do the same if it happens, if it should happen to my child. God forbid that happen.
Okay.
But
So,
we have to educate our young people. I keep saying that because it's important they understand not only abuse in the whole context, in the whole, because you talk about sexual abuse, we talk about drug and alcohol, those addiction, those are abuse, as well as the interpersonal violence. We have to, let them understand what is it all about. Some of them might have witnessed it in the family. Sadly, it happened, but we can cut that and change the cycle so they don't have to be in that.
thank you, ladies. let me give the man perspective how I look at things. You know, I I don't know how to tell you, but no, I can't say no. I'm the host. I should know how to tell you guys. You know, as being a father, I think it's such a big responsibility, and it's such a blessed thing to be a father. You know, and I always tell my story a few times. You know, when Ken was born, I was in the delivery room with Geeta, and I saw the struggle that Geeta was going through. She started to get what you call this pain that she started to get like nine something in the morning, and Ken, with his big head, that I say, she gave birth until five something in the afternoon. So that's one of the things that really stuck into my brain, that she's had such a hard time giving birth to him. And when Ken was born, you know what I did? You know, I was a big baby. When what I did, I went to the bathroom and I burst down crying. I put on a crying because here it is. It's such a blessing to be a father. And when I look at Ken, he looked just like me and my sister. And I finished there. I finished with the crying and so on, and then I hugged Geeta and so on. But having the boys, having two boys, yes, I wanted a girl so bad, you know, to spoil her rotten, if you know what I mean. But then when I see what goes on sometime in the world, I said, Lord Jesus, it's good I have my two boys. You know what I mean? And so the things that I do now, I really do take pride in all that I do for my boys. Don't get me wrong, I don't play with them. I get mad just like everybody else. But at the same time, I don't beat Geeta. I don't. I may yell sometime. Like sometimes I tell her, "Why don't you go get your license? I need you to learn to drive. I need you to be able to do these things. That in case anything happened to me, that you should be able to drive and so on." And I've been preaching this for like probably 15 years, but and it haven't done yet. But those are the things that get me upset a little bit. But I cannot tell you how it's such a big blessing to have my children. And you guys see that I post things with them all the time. Yes, I'm proud of them because and they remind me so much of myself. Um, when I was a little boy growing up in Guyana, sometimes I didn't have money to go and buy like some children, to go buy a soda or to go buy a pair of boots. I had one pair of boots, and so I was telling sometimes I lay in the bed and they would come in and watch at them, and I would be so amazed that wow, I got two sons. You know what I'm saying? And it's such a blessing to me. Um, and I remember my days that I didn't had the money to buy these things, and I told Geeta, please make sure that my sons, that when they go to school, they must have money on them all the time. I don't care if I don't have. I will be able to find something to eat or drink, or I could make it home. But I don't want my boys to go and have to what is it want? How do I deal with this? Also, when I think of my boys, and it's not really about me, I just want to share. Um, you know, I think of when my boys grew up, I want them to be good human being. Number one, I want them to be good sons, good grandfather, good everything that you can think about. And I'm not saying that I'm raising two perfect boys, but I want them to be good human being. And when you are a good human being, nothing could stop you from um, becoming that person. You know what I'm saying? So that's my thing. I take pride in my children. And to go back to if my boys they have problem, let's say abuse or whatever it is, I would want to. I have to calm myself down, like Bibi would say. I would calm myself down, bring them to the table. I would. It all depends on the situation. If you beat her bad, well, that's a different story. But if you yell at her for too much and you got her crying and so on, I will definitely invite them to the table and we will have a conversation. Um, if the guy probably don't like me, I really do believe in bringing people in the member of the community, like your pastor, your preacher, or your pundit, to have a discussion of what's really going on and see how much they can help. If they can't help, I'll probably get some counseling and take it from there. But to take matters in my own hands, I would not be doing that, you know. So, at what stage do we really tell our children, our daughters and our sons, you know what, it's time for you to go? Baby, take that away.
No, if I mean it's time for you to go. Um, I don't go with that concept.
What up?
Um, I don't go with that concept. Honestly, if my child decides she wants to live with me forever, it's fine with me.
Right. You prefer her to live with you than to go to the coffin, as we see so much abuse going on. Neela, I want to balance this argument that we all have. Um, is it a bad thing as a male to go ask for counseling? Should you be ashamed? Should you be worried about what my neighbor is thinking if I go for some mental health counseling? Or should I say, let's say, listen, boy, I'm having problem. Listen, your son left me to you and said, Mom, listen, I'm having problem dealing with my mental health. I get upset. I need to go. I need us as a family. I want my relationship to work. How do we deal with that? Would you be
Exactly.
part of that?
Exactly. I mean, to heck with what the neighbors are saying. We live our lives too much thinking of what other people are gonna say. They cannot rule our lives. If you can man up and say I need counseling, then by all means seek counseling. Because what is most important? If you treasure a relationship, you want that to flourish, right? And one would do if whatever they can to make their relationship flourish or to solve issues. I mean, that's what we need to do. We need to solve our issues, not, you know, aggravate it, cause more issues. But if it cannot be resolved in a nice way, then, it's unfortunate, but I have to say the next step might have to be, you know, a separation. But it's I don't think for men to take counseling is ever a shameful thing to do. It's actually a very manly thing to do.
Right. Maybe you
I
want
I, I endorse what Neela said. You know, for a man to say, well, okay, he need counseling, he recognize that there's an issue. He
right.
break those barriers where the ego or the machiness of most men, it's not all men, but I'm just being generalized. He break that ego or machiness to recognize, yeah, I have a problem, I need help.
Right.
Wonderful. It's good. It's good.
Good.
We need more like that. We need more like that. We need
Uh,
more like that.
yes. I just had a brainwave, and I have something nice, a good question for you, both of you, because of your experience with domestic violence. And I'm going to ask the question. I'm going to play a song so that you guys could think how you're going to answer this question, and I will give my piece too. Let me get my song up together. Okay, let's go. So, order of protection. When do we take out an order of protection? Should we follow the order of protection? Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching the Ken Rampersaud Show here on Island Zone Radio. When we come back, we will talk about order of protection and how all three of us, I always tell the two ladies, they are the stars of domestic violence, and they always blush and don't want to accept it, but they are the stars, and I'm so glad to have them. So again, you're watching the Ken Rampersaud Show. Let's go. Woman is a blessing. She is a blessing, trust me.
Woman is a blessing. Woman is a blessing. Woman is a blessing. Yeah. Woman is a blessing. Woman is a blessing. Woman
You
is
don't
a
take up
blessing. Yeah.
that is
She let that play, and don't you ever play. She only best things and that she night and day. A woman is a treasure, and then we have to fight. So don't abuse no woman, cause you're stepping up to life. I feel it's time to step up to the plate. Every man and woman now have to stay in play. For every sacrifice this and every choice you make. Give me ready, ladies, listen what I say. Woman is a blessing, don't you raise your hand. Woman is a blessing, so they love every man. Woman is a blessing, so Mama take her stand. Woman is a blessing, respect every woman. Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah. Woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, woman is a blessing, yeah. As a man, I have to say this. I love a free strong woman. If it's strong and independent, on the put up I said treat your woman right and treat she like a queen. Give she all the best things that she has ever seen. Don't you hit no woman, please don't raise your hand. A woman is a gift from God to every man. A woman is a blessing, so don't you raise your hand. Woman is a blessing to be loved every man. Woman is a blessing, so a man take a stand. Woman is a blessing to respect your woman. Woman is a blessing.
That's right. Welcome back. And it is so true that woman is a blessing. Only a woman can really give birth to us human beings. So I totally agree with that. Okay. Let's say hello to Roxanne. She says, I'm really impressed with how you guys are explaining. Yes, these two ladies are brilliant. And that's why I'm so glad I get the two of them together. Maybe we're supposed to be on a long time ago, but so many things happening around the world and in her part of the world. Chan Bridge, thank you very much for watching. Rowena Lal, I agree with Bibi, no time for our children to leave home. And thank you very much for all that you do, Miss Rowena Lal, always keeping things up to date. And let's see, we have Nayan Chunilal is watching from Guyana, Essequibo. My very good friend Roy. Joy Rambaran watching from New York here. Mary and Lou is watching from Canada. She's always well put together and well dressed. So let's talk about order of protection. I put left Bibi on the screen. So Bibi, what's your take on order of protection and your experience?
All right, before I go to the Sonia Chandani asked a question in the chat. How do we have someone who always blame themselves for their spouse abusing them? They always think it's their fault. Yes, it happens. For Sonia and all the viewers out there, there's a tendency. Um, um, Victims, abusers always put the blame on the victim. Everything is your fault. You didn't cook the food properly. You didn't wash your clothes properly. I just use hypothetically. The
Right.
abuser always is a blame game. They always it's your fault. And then when they finish abusing you, they would come back. You would in turn apologize, and they would be the makeup part, which is be like a second honeymoon, and it would be nice for a couple of days, maybe a couple of weeks, or even a couple of months, and then the cycle go back into the abuse. It might start with a little verbal abuse, but then it escalates back into the patronage, unless that the perpetrator or the abuser recognize he or she recognize that they have a problem and seek help. Don't stay in that relationship. They have to be true and sincere that they know that they have to get help. Help cannot be imposed on them. It wouldn't work in any relationship. If you try, even with person who let's take for instance a person who have an addiction to drug and alcohol, you take that person to rehab, they will go through and stay in the rehab for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months. When they come back, they'll be okay for a couple of days. Then they're going back into the old patterns. But if that person recognizes they have a problem with addiction and they decide whether they want to go into rehab, they will go into rehab. Similarly, with an abuser, he or she recognizes, what I'm doing is not right. I can't help myself. I'm angry, whatever the issue is. I need help and get help. That relationship will be able, probably be able to work out. Now, in terms of order of protection,
Yes.
yes, it's absolutely necessary as long you feel that you're not safe. It's absolutely necessary to have an order of protection. It's a safeguard mechanism for you and for your children. It's necessary to get it. In Ghana, the process is very simple.
Oh, really?
I Yeah, it's simple. As long as you make a report to the police, you can go to them. Well, I'm talking in general sense. I'm not talking here now in COVID, in the pandemic. In the
Right.
pandemic, it's a slightly different thing. You have to go to the magistrate court, and there's a short procedure you do, and within an hour or two, you get that protection.
Good.
You got, I don't know if you're familiar with the court session, the orderly, let the orderly know you're here for an order protection because XYZ, you explain the situation. Then I think you have to fill out a form. It goes to the magistrate will ask you a few questions and you get the order protection.
That's it.
It's simple and it's easy, and I always advise person who in an abusive situation, to get that. It's a safeguard mechanism. It doesn't work all the time because I know of deceased had had order of protection and it didn't help them. But nevertheless, still get it. It's one way of protect yourself. Safety is important for victims.
Right. Neela, what's your take? I know we in the States, but I will give my piece and you can tell what you think. What's your advice?
Yes, Ken. I mean, if someone physically hits you and your life is in danger, man or woman, I say get an order of protection. There should be no hesitation. Because, you know, it's your life after all. I mean, what's more important than that? So, until things can be worked out, but safety first.
I will share the same sentiment with both of you, ladies. I have seen here in New York a lot of times, women they go and they get their order of protection, and one of the bad thing is that a lot of time women does not and they do not follow the order of protection. So I want to echo. Listen, if that's serious, you want to go get that order of protection. You want to follow that order of protection to the T. I up to recently, I was talking to a friend, and they have an order of protection, and two of them still live in the same house. We cannot do that because you never know when that person, the abuser, are gonna kill you. So
Hmm.
please, you don't need to talk to them. All the talking, I think, should by that time has done. You don't need. There's none to talk about no more. Let it go. But before I come off of that topic, I apologize for. I see Sonia Chandani was here, and that's why sometimes I interrupt the show to say hi to some people. But Sonia, thank you very much for tuning in and for watching my show. For those of you who don't know Sonia Chandani, she is a singer here in New York. We are friends on Facebook, and I hear her sing a lot of times. So thank you very much, Chandani, for tuning in my show and for doing such a fantastic job. She is a rising star, or should say a star here in New York. Okay, Chandani, please forgive me for not saying hello to you. And to all our viewers who's watching this episode of the Ken Rampersaud Show, I want to tell you that I am so grateful to have all of you behind me to watch my show, to share my show. The last show that I did, the last live I did, I had over 9,000 viewers watch that show. And I want to say thank you very much. Even if I don't mention your name, know that I try to go through all those posts and say thank you very much. And like I said, next week I will be doing another live. I don't know if I can tell you guys more about the live that I'll do, but I'll probably try to get permission first, and it will be something that's really big for me and for all of us. And anytime I walk and I go there, I'm taking all of you in that room to be with me, be there. And I be honest with you, there is nothing that goes to my head thinking, oh my God, that, what Ken is. No, no, no. I want all of us to think the same way. And I want you to know that I'm grateful for all that you do. Um, Bibi, I'm going to start with you again. And I tell you, sometimes for my shows, I try to go in everybody's brain and to see what they're thinking and how they're thinking. I'm going to ask my questions. And so, Bibi, when one is going to leave a relationship, do you tell your husband or your wife, listen, I am going to leave you? Are you going to procrastinate and say, I'm going to leave you and give him time to kill you? Or are you going to pack your things up and leave easily? Bibi, what they should do. Also, what should they take with them? I'm going to ask both of you, give you same time to talk about
Okay, before I talk about it, Roxanne Walker, she in the chat, she said, would men be embarrassed to say that they are victims of domestic abuse in Guyana? Yes, some men would, some wouldn't. Some men would because it's kind of, can you would understand man with the macho-ness probably or the
it.
ego-ness, they wouldn't talk about it because the friends might humiliate them.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Society would judge them. That's a
Yeah.
problem we have if we have peak society judge you. But I have victims who are male that I have, but they're few, very few.
Mm.
They're very few.
Baby, probably you should get someone to start a group in Guyana where men can really talk about this, go and share their story with each other and see how best.
There is a group here in Ghana run by the Ministry of Social Services. There is
Yeah.
a men's group. Only men allow it. They normally have, I think, monthly sessions. There is a group happening right now.
Okay.
When the next session, and I see the link, I'll send it to you. You can join them, and you can know what's happening there.
Okay.
I think it's a Thursday night. If I can remember correctly. But getting back to your question, when someone is ready to leave, it depends on the situation at the time, at a given time.
Mhm.
If you're running for your safety, forget about everything. Just
All right.
get to
I like
safety.
that. I like that. Safety comes first, as you said.
You pick your turn up and you move for safety. If you
Okay.
have a little time, you take what's important for you.
When you
You take
say
what
when you say important, and that's why I asked, so that people get an idea. I'm going to chip in with my piece. Nina is going to chip in her piece.
okay, might be like like your birth certificate, your ID card, if you have driver's license, your passport. But all those things you can get back.
You can. Okay.
You can't get back. For me, forget about it. If you have to leave everything, you're gonna start. I call it a new beginning, and you get all those things back.
I'm glad you say this because I have a question to that. Do you report to the police that you're leaving so that it will be easier for you to get these belongings back, or you just leave?
It's for me. I would tell that person, make a statement to the police, go to the police, make a report,
Right.
because you're safeguarding your life also too. And if you already have an order of protection, you let
Yeah.
the police know that you're leaving. You have your order of protection. You don't have to tell the police where you're going,
Right.
but you just make a statement to the police and let them know. You don't even have to tell nobody, in your neighbors, your family. If you're going to safety,
Right.
go get to the safety place. Forget about, some people might think about the laptop or the iPad or the phone, whatever. Those are things that you can replace. Just
Absolutely.
get just get to safety, and you can rebuild. I call it, when you leave, that is a new beginning. It wouldn't be easy,
Hmm.
but you will be able to to, to make a new life for yourself, and if you have children, your children.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Neela, what's your take? What would be something of importance for you, like if you have to go, that you would advise people to say, "Listen, I'm going to take this and that."
If they children, take children and go. I mean, that's probably the most important thing. But the reality is that there are people there. Maybe they're not being physically abused, but emotional abuse. I've seen people withstand a lifetime of emotional abuse and still stick around. And I can't wrap my arms around that, but it happens, and I feel helpless when I see that happen. Um, but if your life is in danger, I think nothing should stop you from just leaving.
Good. Yeah, and I think we have mentioned most of the things that we want to talk about. Try to get as much important documents that you can get. And I'm sure, one of the things that I've said, that abuse should be, you should see what's coming from a long time ago. And you should try to get things together and try to move things easily, little by little, if you can, so that when the time ready to make that big move, you are moved. I remember a friend of mine, a couple of years ago, about 30 years ago, he and his wife, I don't know what problem they had, but the two of them went to work together on the same train right here in Jamaica, Queens. They went to work, and she took the same train and come back home. And by the time he come back in the afternoon, the apartment was empty. She took everything from the apartment and she gone. So and she just moved on with her life. A lot of times we see that women go back and decide that, what, I'm going to go get some clothes, or I'm going to get this. Uh, Bibi, what do you think? Should they go with a family member? Should they go with a police? How should they approach this?
Ken, I won't advise anyone to go back. I
No.
won't advise, no. I won't advise you. The material things you can always replace. I won't advise you to go back for nothing. Clothing, you can get clothing. You might not have all the clothing that you had before. It will take time.
Right.
Everything that you had before, you can get back and even better. It will take time. So forget about the material thing. Think about your life. Think about healing from that traumatic experience that you went through, and you'll conquer the world and you will live a happy life.
Wow, I agree with you. You're so right on the money. Um, what I was going to ask you, with children concerned, and I'm going to ask both of you, Neela. When children is involved, it becomes a little more intricate, more technical, right? Should you would you as a mother, and both of you are mothers, would you encourage your children to have a relationship with their father or not? Or is there anything like an amicable um, breakup? And then I say amicable for some of my grassroots rulers. Is there any common ground that we can say, listen, I'm leaving. I'm going to give you half of that. Well, I'm the kind of guy. If you want to go, let's take half and half or whatever it is. Is that possible in any kind of relation?
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
It depends on the situation. It depends on the issue at the time. Some can end amicably, but some no. And you should not. What happened with yourself and your abuser should not affect your child in terms if that child wants to have a relationship with the other parent. Give
Yes.
that child an option, but you have to have certain mechanism in place,
Hmm.
safeguard mechanism, that
Okay.
they don't kidnap the child or run away with the child or do the child any harm to get revenge at you. All those things happen. So before you decided to, it depends. It's as I keep saying to people, you have to deal with each case because their complexities are different from each case. Each DV case has its own complexity. You deal with it on its own merit, how to deal with it.
Hmm.
But in a general sense, it has to be if you're gonna allow if the court order, if it's a court order saying it's mandatory that the child has to spend X amount of hours a month or a week or a year or certain holidays or so forth, you have to permit that. But other than that, if you have full custody, it's your choice with the child to have that discussion, or so if the child is able to understand that, to spend some time with the parent. It's optional. It depends on the gravity of the abuse and so forth. It's not just something happened just like that. That's how I see it.
All right, Neela. I know Neela. She goes to church. She's religious, and she has I believe that quiet disposition. Neela, how would you deal with that?
That's a tough call. I lost my dad when I was 17 years old. So
Wow, sorry to hear that.
having a parent not in your life, um, it's such a special thing to have both parents in your life, even not together, because a child always they feel more stable when they have that balance, right, of a mother and father, or people around them that can surround them with love. Because after all, our children do deserve that. But if, as Diddy said, I agree with Diddy. If a person is out there to harm their partner, then how can we trust that person with our child? It could be, and then you have to weigh the situation because that trust factor is lost. And they can ultimately use that, like when people, when they have vengeance or they want to seek revenge, everything is blinded, even for the love of a child.
Hmm.
We've heard of stories, tragic stories, where the child suffered the ultimate death, because one spouse wants to get back at the other one. So once that trust is broken, I wouldn't dare trust anyone with my child.
Let me add my take on it too. I really do believe that children should have both parents in their lives. That's my take, no matter how you look at it. And I would want to share the same sentiment with you guys. Is that you know, if you have a violent partner, then there is no. But if you have a partner who want to have a good time with their children, is behaving themselves, then I believe they should be able to do that. You know, and it's sad that this statement I'm going to make. I've seen a lot of time parents use their children, especially women, use their children as bartered with their husbands. And we can flip the switch and sit on both sides of the spectrum, right? That some parents like to do that, and I do not like to see, um, you know, where parents use the child as a middleman to get at each other. That should never be the case, right, baby? You're watching the Ken Rampersaud show.
Absolutely. I,
Yes,
I agree with you.
yes. Because at the end of the day, and I really believe this, that if you really love your child, and I'm saying this because I've been a psych nurse for a long time. I work in detox, and I've seen so many children, so many guys who come in there, and I always, because I do this show, I always try to get under their skin and try to understand why they misbehave, why they turn out to be, I don't want to say bad kid, why do they turn to drugs, why do they become prostitutes, all these things. I try to get information so I can share with our viewers. So if you're selfish, then you will do all things to keep back these children. But if you want what's best for your children, you will give your children what is best for them and to help them grow up as great human beings. And I want to say, I'm so proud of myself. I could just tell you because it's a normal show. Ken Rampersaud Show. This is not big and professional. This is actually without any help today. I brought you guys in from Guyana. I shared I copy and paste the stuff and I sent it to you guys, and I was able to bring both of you guys on the show. So kudos to myself. I give myself a little praise there because you know what, I'm going to like everybody else. You know what I mean. Like I always tell you, I don't know
Yes.
nothing about computer. Today at work, I'm like, oh, Jesus Christ, I'm going to bring in Neela and I'm going to bring in Bibi and whatever it is. But you know what? God is good, and He know that we we are doing this for the good sake. Also, while we're having this show, I have to be very honest with both of you ladies. I am enjoying this conversation. I am really, to be honest with you, because here it is, we are sharing so much information at a grassroots level that people can understand. You don't have to be brilliant. You don't have to be rich to understand what we're talking about. And so I want us to commit, the three of us again, that we can do something about suicide sometime, probably next month. I'll give you guys time. And so we can have just a conversation like what we are having now. What do you guys think? I'm going to give you time to think. When we come back, you guys could tell me. And Neela always, bring her little motherly stuff into all we have to say. And so Bibi bring her professional stuff and her layman stuff on the Ken Rampersaud Show. I think that's why I want you guys to come back. I would love to have you guys back. All right. Let's see. Let's go to another song by the on the Ken Rampersaud Show. I didn't choose a lot of songs today because I really wanted to let's see the song. Okay, yes, it's a different song. You're watching the Ken Rampersaud Show.
Baby, you're the one I never thought I'd be. Saying from my heart how I feel. Ever since we met, I fell in love with you. You being in my life is a dream come true. Oh baby, I'll never ever make you cry. I'll never say goodbye. I wipe your tears away. I just want to say, oh, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh,
Listen to the words of the song.
and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. No, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity.
Good afternoon, Genevieve Smith. Sing. good to have Guava Man on.
I promise you with all of my heart I'll be standing beside you telling your dreams. I'll never make you unhappy. I want to be the man that you dream of. I want to be the shoulder you lean on. Oh, I want to be your everything. Oh, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. No, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. You're the one I never thought I'd be. Saying from my heart how I feel. Ever since we met, I fell in love with you. You being in my life is a dream come true. Oh baby, I'll never ever make you cry. I'll never say goodbye. I keep your tears away. I just want to say, oh, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. No, I'll never leave you and go away. No, I'll never leave you and go away. Oh, what we have together is for eternity. Steven Rockwood.
That's right. I'll never leave you and go away. And that's what I tell Peter all the time. I'm not going anywhere. You have to deal with me all the time until I close my eyes. Um, let's see. We see Guava Man, who's an intelligent guy, always say nice things, and I want to read what he says. Um, if we watch the opening of the movie Dwayne Johnson called Gridiron Gang, then we would see the negative aspect of domestic abuse in front of kids. There was a Guyanese kid on People's Court who was warned by Judge Millian not to hit his fiancée in front of her kids. And it is so true. It is very traumatic. Children grew up with that. Let's see, he says, well, let's see. Neela is saying, hi, Phoebe, my gratitude to you for all that you do for people in Guyana. Absolutely. I'm so grateful for all of you guys for coming on the show today. Saying thank you very much for watching. I think I want to say I'm glad we're going to finish on time today. It's now 6:46. Baby promised only to be 1 hour on the show today, but I know that she is enjoying the show and it's going nicely. I have to say, I'm very impressed with both of you, ladies, my friends for life, and I only hope that. First, let me say thank you very much, Bibi, for tuning in from Guyana, and thanks for all that you do in Guyana and around the world. Thank you for being my support too. I'm very blessed to have you in my life. I know we were dismantled, but we came back, and that's what good things happen. And I know despite we're the same organization, always, I can tell you, I always write to you guys and say how how good it was for me to work with you guys. And like I said, if anybody else I want to partner with to make a difference in this world, it will be the two of you guys. And I genuinely mean that we can make a difference in the world. I know Neela is not talkative, but I'm certainly sure her weight, the words that she says, and every day, it means something and it carries weight. So, baby, I want to say thank you very much for all you do again. And thanks for agreeing to come on the show. And I only hope that you will come back sometime next month. We can, I think what makes our show different than you guys is because we are down to earth and we're humble and we bring these things to you, to the viewers. And I got to tell you, all also you are very humble in what you do. So again, thank you very much for sharing your story. I know it's not easy. I know you're a strong one. And to my dear friend Neela, thank you so much for. I know Neela had some time earlier. She was on earlier on something else, and she made the time. But I really wanted her to come on and Neela, thank you so much for all this. I have to say, when I look at my show, sometimes I post things, and I was talking to my mind, and I called her and I said, if Nina called me and she said something, I could tell you, she said, Ken, that post is not right. I would take it off. I would listen to her. And I also talked to Vivian, both of them together. You know, if they tell me something, to be very honest with you, I take it as their heavy words, and they are my eyes out there. So, Nina, thank you so much. I love both of you guys, and to all our viewers out there. I can't tell you how grateful I am to have so many of you out there. I sometimes tear reading some of your comments, and great things are happening on the Ken Rampersaud Show, which Neela is helping, but she don't want me to say. I will say it anyway. But how grateful I am. I'm going to the next level. As you guys see that I build, I make my own logo now, and I'll be doing. I buy another piece of apparatus. I want to say thanks to someone. It's a beautiful thing, and this little piece of apparatus here, what it does is actually is when I go live on outside, I will be able to have a mic. You can't complain no more. All I have to do now is to learn about this. So thank you to the person from the bottom of my heart for shipping that to me. I probably need two chairs out. I'm going to call and somebody else later on to get two chairs here. So I am going to build this studio and continue to bring things that are important to us. And I am forever grateful. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching the show. Neela, since you are on the screen, big screen, is there anything you want to say?
Yes, thanks again, Ken, for always, doing a fantastic job of bringing the issues to the table. I have to say, the last show, well, I know you probably did another one in between, but the one on that was riveting. I watched that show multiple times.
Really?
Um, so, I mean, I always wondered, what those people experienced at the time when that plane hit. And that gentleman, I mean, you can't get a more real life experience than what he um, said. And that was, that shook you to the core to see what those people went through. So thank you for doing that. And again, always thank you for bringing all these issues to the table, Ken. Thanks for keeping us part of the show. And I'm so grateful to what you are doing and what Diddy's doing. And there's a lot of other teams that, keep the interest of our people. So kudos to all of those who help in whatever little way. Our country needs it, our people need it, so thank you. My last comment, if I can say on this topic, is that what I always would like to see, and what I think is severely lacking in our community, is the participation of our religious institutions and our religious leaders to highlight these issues and to kind of address them in their services to say that if you're going through a certain abusive relationship, of course they should be trained as to what advice they should give people, but say that it's okay to seek help. And so maybe have a representative in each temple, each masjid, each church be assigned to that, and that they can get some counseling and offer some guidance to whoever, in privacy, whoever's experiencing this. But we need to address it more because, people are close to your churches or wherever you worship, and that's where we should be able to bring it up if we don't feel comfortable bringing it to family. But thank you.
I agree with you. Thank you. Let's go, Vivi.
Okay, I endorse all that Neela say, but realistically, to get all those to get faith-based leaders to be part of of this awareness would be great. I know here in Guyana, and you could speak for Guyana mostly, that there are plans for there's some training being done with faith-based leaders to let them know how to help persons with not only gender-based violence or interpersonal violence or domestic abuse, whichever one you want to call, but also where it comes to suicide prevention, the Ministry of Social Protect, Human Services and Social Security, they are um, have some plans. They already have people networking to get that done, and I hope that can bear some fruit to help our communities here in Guyana. And Ken, to you, thanks for having me on the show. I know I was supposed to be on since last month, but unfortunately I couldn't be on. Sure, I will try my best to be on again and continue being the same loving, humble individual that you are. And whenever I get time, you know that I do watch the show. Antonella, my sister, thank you for being here and being beside with me. We'll talk later. And to all your viewers,
Yeah.
thank you for tuning in. And to Roxanne, oh yeah, my parrot behaved tonight. She was very quiet. Roxanne put it in the chat there. So in the comments. So she behaved like a lady tonight. She was very quiet. And please, to and if you know anyone that needs help here in Guyana, you can call 914. I already gave my number. It's 621 or reach out to NGOs like Help and Shelter, Child Link, Red Thread. Even you can go to your mandir, your masjid, to your churches. If you don't get help there, go to the health center. Please don't become a star. Get help, get out. Thank you for listening to me.
Yeah, and also I want to tell you guys, this will probably be this month and next month will be very busy. I got a book that I'm reading now. Sarah Khalil, she was in domestic violence relationship. So probably tonight I'm going to start reading her book, and I'll be interviewing her sometime this week or next week. So there's a lot of interviews coming. I'm going to keep my foot on the pedal on domestic violence in Guyana and the United States. So again, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks, Neela. Thanks, Vivi. Have a great night and a good week ahead. Okay? Thank
Thank
you. Bye bye.